Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
I know it's talking.
Yes, hello.
Okay. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this gathering. It's already 10 o'clock. I think we can proceed to start the activity. So thank you for joining this remarkable activity. Global Encryption Day celebration is conducted each and every year on the 21st of October of each year, where we celebrate the Global Encryption Day. Global Encryption initiative started by Internet Society Center for Democracy and Technology and other organizations to celebrate the day and advocate for internet security and safety. So I thank you for joining us today, and we'll quickly proceed to our first speaker, which she has something very urgent to attend to. She will take in session. Amaka, I think you can proceed with your session. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Afrimighty for organizing this program, and thanks to Internet Society Foundation for sponsoring this program. Yeah, so today is World Day, celebrating World Encryption Day, and I'm so glad to be here to share some few insights with the participants. All right, I'm trying to share my screen. And I thought it popped up now. Did it? Can you see my screen? Please, hosts, enable participant screen sharing.
You can share screen.
Yeah, it's like you disabled it. I was trying to share and it went off. Okay. How about now? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm taking the session on legal view of encryption and laws protecting encryption. So, freedom of expression. I'm having network issues. I have to stop my video for easy flow of our communication. Thank you. So, I'll start with freedom of expression because when we talk about encryption has to do with technology, and now we are into the digital space, and everything is online now. So, freedom of expression is the human right of citizens to freely express themselves and impart ideas and hold opinions without hindrance. So, and as the technology have advanced, we've had a lot of issues online. So, and that brings us to encryption. Encryption has to do, for me, encryption is data privacy. So encryption is like you locking your toy box with a key, and it's only people that have that key that can see your secrets. Okay. Encryption is about your ability to control access to your information. So and privacy is our constitutional rights. Okay, privacy is the autonomy of an individual, and it is the keystone of a truly modern democracy. So, though we have, you know, like in the past or recently, or no, in Uganda, the former military leader said, "Oh, you have freedom of expression, but I cannot guarantee the freedom of that expression." You know, so in other words, the law also provides permissible limitations to the right to privacy, which can be invoked in deserving circumstances to limit the extent of this application. Next. So we need to talk about the Nigeria's digital landscape and rise of online speech. The technological boom of the 1990s enhanced access to the internet and mobile telephony services, laying foundation for real-time social connections and political influence on digital space. And you know, the youths are the ones using as in Gen Zs now, we are the ones using the internet more. And according to a report of Action Group on Free Civil Space Security Playbook, Nigerians have the average of 7 social media accounts per internet user. And spend on the average of about 3 hours per day on social media. And most of the social media platforms used in Nigeria: WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and the likes. You know, and as a new society populated by individuals and groups called netizens emerged on this digitalized platform, popularly known as social media, engaging in free and almost uncensored expressions, culminating in the exponential rise in the ability of citizens groups, you know, to say what they want to say. Now, the significance of encryption. Remember I said encryption is about the ability to control access to your information. So encryption laws and regulation hold immense significance for several reasons. Data protection. So through encryption, we have data protection, cyber security, and balancing interest. When I talk about balancing interest, you know, I'll give an example. I'm trying to control access to information. The government, on the other hand, is trying to prosecute crimes because my privacy, if I have privacy and remember
Hello.
our team, hello, can you hear me?
Audio.
Hello, are you with me? Hello, can you hear me?
We can't hear you, man.
Can you hear me?
Your audio is so slow.
Okay. I've checked my internet. My internet is okay. How about now? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, we can't hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Please,
How about now? Can you hear me?
we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Let me take off my earpiece. Okay, so our topic or our theme is encryption. Oh, sorry, let me open it. Encryption in post-crisis areas. Okay, so as I'm saying, giving my example, as individuals, we are trying to control access to our information. And government, on the other hand, is trying to prosecute crimes, you know, and to get intelligent information to counter terrorism. As I have privacy, okay, terrorists too, in quotes, they also have privacy or trying to be secretive. So this is where this balancing of interest comes in. And in trying to balance this interest, we have the government infringing on the data privacy rights of its citizens. Okay. So encryption protects digital information from unauthorized access by making it illegible to anyone without an encryption key. Okay, so while this ensures the security of digital communication, it also prevents the government from accessing evidence it needs for national security. Okay, so this creates an apparent conflict between the private sector, private sector's desire to strong encryption and the government interest in backdoor access. Okay, so for example, a WhatsApp message. Normally, when you start a new WhatsApp message, you will see it is protected by end-to-end encryption and can only be decrypted by the holders of the private key, that's the sender and the recipient. And as we have the right to privacy, it is guaranteed under Section 37 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended. So even if we have this right, Section 45 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria provides that even if we have that right, Section 37 can be derogated from in the interest of defense, public safety, public morality, and for the protection of rights and freedom of others. So to this effect, states have consistently asserted their legitimate right to maintain law and order, either through its action, policies, or regulation, or even through the instrumentality of law. Okay, so as legitimate as their concern is over national security, okay, we've had a number of events that have been invoked in most circumstances to target individuals and really violate rights to privacy, and this infringement of right to privacy is not just peculiar to Nigeria alone. All right, so it's not just peculiar to Nigeria. We have that in other countries as well. So I have some few examples here. So states like Australia and Canada have also been alleged to be processing millions of transactions each year through advanced data mining tools with little regard to individual right to privacy. Okay, we also have example of Colombia. All right, then also in Greece, okay, in Greece, the Prime Minister's communication was intercepted and listened to. We also have in Uganda, 2002, the Ugandan Anti-Terrorism Act allows wiretapping and searches of the media upon suspicion, justifying it. Now to Nigeria. There were several reports of the defunct SARS, and it's still happening, of the Nigerian police searching people's mobile phones, laptops, and other digital devices on mere suspicions of being Yahoo boys, internet fraudsters, as it's usually called. Okay, then there's has been a right for government plan to purchase equipment that will allow it to conduct online surveillance on unprecedented scale. As of recent, of 0.8 all that. This was a Nigeria. So, as I was saying, yes, we have right to, I'm keep on repeating for us to understand the legal standpoint of this. Yes, we have right to privacy, but we're trying to balance how can the government and individuals work together to ensure that there's a balance for both the law and us enjoying our rights, encryption rights. So as I said, encryption is still a growing it's still a new thing in Nigeria though, and we still have upcoming legal framework. It's not really strong. I'll say the truth. It's not really, we don't really have a good, a strong enforcement or good standing point right now. So it's still an evolving issue in Nigeria. And the way government have tried to hinder technology or encryption / data privacy through clampdown on freedom of expression, it mostly take the form of arrest, detention, and journalists are mostly targeted, opposition figures, activists, vocal critics, so they are the ones mostly affected. And back to balancing interests. Okay, so if the government is asking for backdoor from technology and different technology companies that, oh, they need to have access, they want to counter terrorism and all that, it also has its own disadvantages. So if, let's say Google gives, how are we going to protect ourselves from hackers? How are we going to protect ourselves from authoritarian government that will keep on demanding for access, So these few recommendations are what I have. So as I said, while the legal landscape on encryption is still developing, the future of encryption laws and regulations in Nigeria holds promise. So we call for stakeholder collaboration. Let's engage with cybersecurity experts, legal authorities, technology providers, and civil society, for effective regulation. The government cannot just put out regulation out there without consulting other stakeholders. Continued learning, nurturing a culture of continuous learning and technical expertise to keep up with encryption advances. Public awareness, then state authorities should respect and fulfill their human rights obligation under the International Human Rights Instrument, especially as regards right to privacy. Okay. Yeah, and because of limit of time and we started late, I need to rush my presentation. Okay, so now relevant legislations and competent authorities. What is the principal data protection legislation? Okay, the principal data protection legislation in Nigeria is the Nigeria Data Protection Act of 2023. Right, 14th June 2023 was remarkable. That was the day our President Bola Tinubu signed it into law. Then the act created the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. Okay, it is the primary data protection authority and is responsible for enforcing the act. So, and the act retained and did not repeal the existing NDPR, that's Nigeria Data Protection Regulation and its implementation framework. So, and they are now being read together, but where there is any disparity, the NDPA is going to prevail over it. So is there any other general legislation that impacts data protection? Yes, we have a lot of them. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation, and the NDPR Implementation Framework, the Child Rights Act, the Cyber Crimes Prohibition Prevention Act 2015, the Freedom of Information Act, the National Health Act, the HIV and AIDS Act of 2014, and Credit Reporting Act 2017. So these are the laws we have. Then other sector-specific legislation. You know, we have the NITDA, NCC. So they also have their regulations and legislation that impact data protection. So we have the Consumer Code of Practice Regulation of 2007, registration of telephone subscribers, the Consumer Protection Regulation 2020 by the CBN, the Lawful Interception of Communications Regulation, which was issued by the NCC, the guidelines of NITDA, the guidelines for the management of personal data by public institutions in Nigeria, 2020, issued by NITDA. So I think we should have, maybe in our spare time, have time to look, just when you go online, you can click for summary. There are a lot of resources you see online that will just give you summary without just going deep into the acts or the regulations themselves. When you go online, you can see reviews and topics on that. Then we'll have the Official Secrets Act of 1962, CBN guidelines on point of sale acceptance service, the CBN regulatory framework for bank verification number operations, what leaves for the Nigerian banking industry. Then the NITDA guideline for Nigerian content development in information and communications technology of 2019 as amended. Okay, I think I'm within time. This is 10:27. All right. Thank you very much. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you very much for a wonderful session.
Yeah.
I think if there is any questions, participants can go ahead and ask you. Any question with regards to the presentation?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, go on. Echoing at the background. Let me put off my.
Please, can I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Can I go ahead, please?
Can. I can't hear him. Can others hear him? Hello?
This I can speak.
Hello, yes.
All right, good morning. We are glad to have your presentation, which is very interesting and eye-opening. There are two questions I want to quickly ask. The first one is that encryption is still very new in Nigeria, and like you also agreed, it's still an evolving thing. What are you doing to ensure faster publicity? That's the first one. The second one is the issue of hackers and Yahoo boys, which you also talked about. It's observed that one of the reasons why this happened is because of high economic challenges, lack of job opportunities, and poverty, etc. What are likely solutions in view of your presentation this morning? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I didn't get your name. We're from American Space, Meduguri. All right. Thank you. So for us, what are we doing? For the civil society, as I said in my recommendation, I said there should be more enlightenment, more advocacy on this area. You know, most citizens, most of us don't really know what encryption is. So most of us don't really know. And we can also target the legislator. That's why I also come in with advocacy, the strategic advocacy. So it's just for the civil society to come together, the civil society working in these thematics to come together and look for a solution and advocate for open internet and free internet space. Then for the second question on how we're going to reduce hackers or how we're going to reduce Yahoo based on the economic situation in Nigeria. As I said, all this is not just peculiar to Nigeria. Nowhere is really safe. It applies everywhere. So it also has to do with ourselves. Okay, for example, you said it's because of the economic situation. We are all in this together. So because we're all in this together, and as I said, for my own opinion, it has to do with yourself. Change begins with yourself. So I cannot say that, okay, because of the economic situation, this is what drove me to start doing Yahoo. Both of us are here. Are you not here trying to work, trying to bring out the good in yourself? So I just think it's a personal thing, and also for the government too. But who are the government? Just ask ourselves, who are the government? We are the ones that will go into the government space. So as I said, change begins with us. Change begins with us. And we just hope for a better future. My whole humble opinion. I hope that answers your question. My brother from American Space, Meduguri. Hello. Hello. Gazali.
So thank you, Amaka, for your session. If there is no any question, I think we can say we can deliberate on proceed. We can proceed to the open session as we wait for the second speaker to join.
I'm sorry, I have to leave now because I have. And thank you, and I wish us fruitful deliberation.
Okay.
And
okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
they send Google Forms, they send email. People will be like, I have more than 3 people sending it to verify. Is it real? Since there is a verification that government are open a website or a Google document for you to get that palliative. And people tend to believe that. And when you go through that Google document, like me now, I can create a Google document and send it to you and say, okay, just, dispatch that Google document. Well, I will give you the author of that Google document because one of the reasons for Google document is, data connection. And if I send to this lady here, she put on her name, her address, her email, her phone number, I'll ask for that. And I'll be able to see all her data. Yes. And that data is power. Like you see all these people that are getting data, all this internet fraud, they'll call you and they will ask you, are you so person? And they will even know what kind of bank are you using, what's the name of the bank. Do you know how to get your data? It is through all these, these Google forms that are sending. And they will ask you for your phone. And if you are not careful, they will ask you for your OTP because they have your phone number and they'll call your phone number. And you'll be like, how do you really get my phone number? It must be from the bank. Well, it's very easy. With all these Google documents, they get your details. Because you see a lot of people having more than 500 people data, which is power, which is money. Like if I have 1,000 people data, I have their name, their email address, their phone number, their phone number. Some of them even their email. If I have 1,000 of this data, you know there are people that can give you more than 100,000 to get this data. And those data can be used in many things. They can be used in, they can be used in commercial activities, yes, like agricultural activities. Some of them can be used for fraud. So this is what we are seeing here. We need to,
let me just step into what you were saying. I just have a kind of question on what we say now. So how do we now make people be aware of? Okay, if I now see this web address, this is coming on document, this is the system. And how can I translate this web address from a text or a web address that is not related to your document? Is there any way, or is there any standard that one can be able to follow in order to differentiate between a text web address and a legit web address?
Yes, there is. In most cases, all these phishing websites, if you look at it, it's close to the authentic website. If there's L in the place, it will be changed to I. So when you look at it, you will see your eyes will look at it. So mostly we scan things. We don't look at something very well. So that's one of the ways they use. And some is through gathering of your data via online platforms like all these shared Google Forms, all these fake job applications, all these activities you join, maybe game shows and the rest. And sometimes some people post things and you see like as if it's joking. Or I will say like in social media, this thing is happening now, it's trending. What is your age? Let's see how many people are born in October. Or what's the month of your age? Some of those posts are not randomly or are just for the sake of joke. Most of this, some of those posts are to get your details. From that, you see, maybe in the next few months, they will say that your favorite pet. What do you have? Is it a dog or a cat? What do you own? So you are given that information, you don't know. And we are using, most people use simple passwords. Some people put their pet's name, some their date of birth. So by knowing the month and the year, so it's only one thing they will look for, the dates. And sometimes people are unaware of all these things. They even give out their date of birth, and they use their date of birth for passwords. Some even phone numbers. So these are the kind of things they use to get it. So we have the second speaker online. He will give his own presentation. Hello, sir. Are you here? Yeah, I think he's having a network challenge. So, but normally what we advise is using a strong password and two-step verification or authentication systems. So anybody with anything that he has seen happening or experiencing. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Report, and you know, it went for so many months before they can use it in back channel. So I think what the approach is here is very sensitive. In my opinion, that the government and everybody should not be giving data, like you know, sensitive data of people for them to handle, because it may fall into the wrong hand. So And data can be used for so many things. Like companies can use it for commercial purposes, for targeted, I think, audiences. And it can be used, like you say, for all these in cloud and so many things. So I think Nigeria to be able,
Hello, can you hear us, sir? Hello?
You how to use this campaign in a it's everyone actually. It creates abilities that could be exploited by criminals and breaks our personal talent. Weakening and trying to damage the economy by undermining confidence in data security and stifling innovation. We need back again chemistry. Policies around the world to understand important why we tend and before now to add you could start a petition in your local area to show public support for protecting end-to-end encryption. If politicians can see the public pressure, they are less likely to vote for measures that can damage encryption. You could write to your local representative using the template included in the toolkit, demanding protection for strong encryption. Using the toolkit's open letter template, you could rally support from local leaders, members of the network, and your local community. The press release template can be used to contact your local and regional media and share why strong encryption needs to be protected. Remember to contact journalists that are already writing about digital security and technology. You could also mobilize your online network across social media to protect encryption by using the hashtag save encryption and hashtag save end-to-end encryption and hashtag save E2EE. Or you could start a working group using end-to-end encrypted messaging services such as WhatsApp or Signal to mobilize like-minded individuals who want to save strong encryption. End-to-end encryption protects us. That's why we must all protect encryption. Download our campaign in the box here and join the fight to save strong encryption.
So, communicate English easily.
So this is one of the short videos to advocate and to use as an advocacy tool. And if you want to create anything here in Maiduguri, normally what we do in other places that we have conducted similar activities is we have a group of advocates, people that advocate, and we partner with them in conducting activities. And mostly if we want to step down the training to other people within the community, so that those people, we use those partners to conduct it. So here is another short video to watch.
For Global Encryption Day, we have developed a toolkit for partners across the globe. This video shows you how to use this campaign in a box and how you can be part of global advocacy efforts to protect encryption. Weakening encryption puts everyone at risk. It creates vulnerabilities that could be exploited by criminals and makes our personal data less secure. Weakening encryption will damage the economy by undermining confidence in data security and information. We need to push back against all attempts to weaken encryption. We must get policymakers around the world to understand this important argument. And that's why we need your help to protect and preserve strong encryption. We need you to inspire and empower people around the world to advocate for a safe and secure internet within. Our campaign that gives you everything you want to kickstart a local campaign to protect strong encryption ahead of global encryption day. To get started, you could start a petition in your local area to show public support for protecting end-to-end encryption. If politicians can see the public pressure, they are less likely to vote for measures that could damage encryption. You could write to your local representative using the template included in the toolkit, demanding protection for strong encryption. Using the toolkit open letter template, you could rally support from the local leader, members of the network, and your local community. The press release template can be used to contact the local and regional media and share why strong encryption with the public. Remember to contact journalists that are already writing about digital security and technology. You could also mobilize your online network across social media to protect encryption and hashtag safe encryption and hashtag safe end-to-end encryption and hashtag safe E2E. Or you could start a working group using end-to-end encrypted messaging services such as WhatsApp or Signal to mobilize like-minded individuals who want to save strong encryption. End-to-end encryption protects us all. That's why we must all protect encryption. Download our campaign reports here and join the fight to save strong encryption.
Let's see if the network is favorable for our second speaker. Hello, sir. Hello. So since our second speaker is having with his network, then we'll proceed to our next activity. We need to identify what you think we need to see improvement. Just the issues like the issues you have mentioned, write it. What is the issue that is making people get hacked? Like someone discussed on the issue of poor password or the issue of lack of awareness on how to use encryption method for online security. So write down what you think we need to do to see improvement in security of citizens online. You can use the sticky notes. Suggestions, what is the issue? So we should take time, like let's give 5 minutes to write down whatever you think that there is need for improvements, or what you suggest recommendations on what we need to do to see improvement in the level of internet security and safety. And if you have any issue that you have encountered or heard about encryption within the community or in general within the country, you can write it down. No need for name or anything.
Thank you very much.
My experience studying.
Bueno, so I for finally.
For us. So let's hear what Mr. Francis is going to say.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Global Encryption 2023. My name is Francis, and I'm the director of the American Space here in Nigeria. I'm glad to have the affinity and other people that are joining this program this morning, a part of what is happening on this day. I just want to quickly share something on the American spaces, or rather the American space, especially what we do, and then I can be part of us. The American space is an information resources center, and where I'm in, I want to quickly share this to my audience, and share to the other colleagues. For those of you who are coming here for the first time, I want to say welcome. Like I said, the American space is an information resources center, and what we do clearly is to partner and collaborate with people around us to educate people on what is happening, especially with regards to the US government. So we can move together, especially here in Nigeria. We give a lot of information, education. We give a kind of empowerment. And one of the things we do is what we have to do with the affirmative, especially with allowing the people to have access to the space, and then we can move, we give information to people around us. Like you see in the booklets I've just given, like I said, the spaces are really established in places where there is a kind of a partnership between the both community and then the embassy, especially in Abuja. So where these places are located, we try as much as possible to give a kind of opportunity for people to come into the space and use it for free internet access, and then for materials that are here within the spaces, which are in most cases hard copies and soft copies. Of course, we have an e-library here, where especially those who are interested in research can come and have resources of whatever you want to have access to. We also allow people to have access to public lectures. There are trainings that also exist. There are also reading clubs. There are conversation cafes. We have contests. We also have summer reading programs, roundtable discussion, and also free shows. And just in a short in a quick time to what we do, the summary, we want to congratulate the affinity for being part of this program today. And we want to say that wherever the spaces are provided, we do the same thing. That is why you find that when the affinity director consulted us here, we didn't charge him for anything for the space. We give him all our equipment to use. I also want to use the opportunity for those of you who are seated here, that this place is allowed for you to come and for us to just speak together and see maybe if there are kind of information you want to pass around to people around you with your partners around, and see how this can be there for you to access, and then we can do a lot of especially in times like this where there are young people around who are moving out joblessly, how we can do a lot of so I would say this, perhaps I would like to give opportunity for questions. and then we can move together. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Francis, for a wonderful explanation. American Space is a partner with Africa Media and Information Technology Initiative. We have conducted similar activities with partnership with organizations like the American Space and other partners. Okay. So for anybody that has a question to Mr. Francis, can proceed to.
Yes,
I think this is education USA. Which I know about it, and I usually meet them through Zoom sometimes because they give information about what is scholarship. And like in our setting, most of our participants are students, while me I'm a staff there. So I would like to know, do you give, like, do you organize like a seminar so that students can be able and staff can be able to come and see if there are opportunities, information about opportunities and scholarships in the United States? Like we see in Abuja and Lagos, this space also provides that.
I think you are very good. I'm glad that you are staff here. If you are staff, then we can say what you do. When you see how we can get the students, bring them here to the space, and we organize programs on the experience for them. Sometimes it's a physical as they're reading, and sometimes we have a virtual program. We have two of them that are in two of our American spaces that organizes so we have American Space Kano, where we have the director that most I think programs comes in Wednesdays. And then we have American Space Calabar in the south. So the same thing is being done. So we can do a lot of education on this, especially on Wednesdays, where we discover that there are more information that are needed. We can do a kind of virtual program. So please, I challenge you, bring your students here, bring your friends here, and what I do, and then we will be there. Also, I'll use the opportunity to inform you that we also do programming on the USA. One of the programs that I told you we do a lot of programming. So one of the programs we do is on Education USA, where we bring our in members, and then we give them information and they ask questions. And sometimes we also link up virtually to the US Embassy, where the directors also speak to them. So we do virtually the same thing. And I want to see how we can move ahead. It's not just Education USA, but the other programs. We have the e-library USA, which I was talking about. It's a resource that somebody like you, who is staff here, can come and have free access to. So please sell out this information to everybody. And we are moving to the Any more questions? We can take questions virtually if there are. If there's none from you.
Okay, so if there are no questions, I would like two people to kind of comment on one of the things that is written here. There, maybe you can have somebody to read one of it out to us and see how we can deliberate on it. Some of the recommendations. You can help us with one. So,
my suggestion here is that I suggest that our younger brothers and sisters should be enlightened about how to protect their account, social media account, before even giving them smartphones and laptops. In order for us reduce the amount of unauthorized activity. That's number two is an awareness, complete awareness is established on how to protect social media accounts in our various communities.
Okay. So what do you think on this, or what can you add on what he just said?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Waka Mohammed. I am founder of Splash Innovation Hub. So, regarding what you just said, is first, your first point, your first comment, the first point, you said enlightenment should be done even before giving out news to young kids to.
Yes.
Aha. So, at my hub, this program we have for kids. So it's called Tech for Kids. And we talk about different things, we advocate for different things, we train kids for different aspects in tech. So there is one that is specific to cyber security, where we teach them how to stay safe online. So that program was taken even outside. We reached out to media houses and even here on some of the radio stations. So what we do normally is we take them step by step on how to stay safe online completely, not just social media. Because nowadays the kids, they are not, even if you give them phones, they are not yet to start social media at least when they are 18 at least. So, but they use their phones or their computers, even your own phones, even if they don't have phones, they already know how to go online because they use it for their assignments these days. Even in schools, they advocate for them to use internet to do their assignments and what have you. So they need to know these things beforehand. So that is why we dedicated that specific topic to be carried out. And for the second one, even written on my own suggestion that we go locally. So from experience, what I experienced is in the northern part of Nigeria, you keep advocating, trying to talk to people about something, trying to let them know, but then they just come, sit down, listen to you, and go away. Mostly, they don't understand what you are even saying, but nobody is going to open up and ask you questions or be like, they don't understand because they are shy. So what we do is we normally differentiate between programs of women and men differently. So there is time for women too. So they come in woman by woman, it's the woman that is the trainer and the participants are all women. So we open up and we go local. We speak to them in our local dialect. So we talk to them in the way they understand. We give examples of what is happening around us. So they get, with that, you see the women participating, you see everybody participating, they will be like, this thing has happened to me before, this thing has happened to me before. So they are open. So that safe space that we create is giving them like the feel of being among, understanding what we want them to understand. So with that being said, I think that is even what I wrote in my own suggestion. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Fatima. This is a wonderful suggestion, and I have learned that you have an initiative training kids. So I think now there is a new responsibility for you to train and step down this training to our people. Most especially, one important thing that you mentioned is using the local language, which is really impactful in communicating and creating awareness about issues. So, and I think we would work together on having advocates of encryption in this community, so that we can work together to see how we can work on creating awareness and advocating for internet safety and security. And there is need for more participation from the people within the community, and engaging the government on encryption and internet safety. How can we work together to balance the terrain of digital security and national security? Because these are the two conflicting factors that always happen. Government talking about national security, and at the other part, we are talking about safety of citizens, which is important, as we are all citizens, and the government, the people in the government, and we are all citizens of this country. So I think this is what we will need to do more of this. So can we have another person to read again?
Okay. So this one is reading suggestions. Reading is for hacking people's account. Number one is keeping of personal data online. That's number one. Number two, using weak or predicted passwords. That's the reason for having access to people's personal account. So now the suggestion that is an awareness and tip on the dangers of giving out personal data online forms using what?
Are we using how we share or WhatsApp messages to groups? Okay. Yeah. And second one is advocacy. Creating a strong advocacy on creating a strong password. And enlightenment on using two-step verification in the social account, social media account like WhatsApp. So what we mean here is like this sister here said we have yes, you have the hub, so she can be able to help with this. Yes, since our hub usually deal with this kind of things, so she can be able to help, like doing a strong advocacy about sharing tips about how the dangers of giving out personal data online, and she can be able to enlighten people on how to use two-step verification in WhatsApp and in Facebook about the identification and everything. So this is very important.
So, mostly on your discussion, you talk about awareness. So this is a responsibility for you guys to work and think of something that we can step in and see it is passed across the community.
Also, I am so also like to add an issue like this. You go back as relation area and children are in the school being asked to go online and do some other activities. So I see that it's important to like secondary school to go for awareness. They get this children on how to keep safe of the information. And also I was organizing, I have a blog I did in school, so I invite students from various schools across the metropolitan and and even I was thinking that we had a program, yeah, I think about that. Many times, so we are selected solutions from various schools here at the specific plan so that the interact and discuss about book series. So it's important that we can step into it and join the program. You can with awareness and educate so an issue of how to keep privacy of their information, especially media and internet in general.
Okay, so this is important, and we will definitely participate in this book club to have a section on internet security and to be discussing on encryption and general safety of the kids online, because this will really help. Looking at now there are all platforms that kids are taught lessons in school, from even sometimes kindergarten, and these applications can be used to gather some data. So there is need for protection of those data. And most of especially your initiative looks similar with what Fatima stated. Since these kids are minors, before they started doing social media, which people tend to get issues like hacking of profiles. There is need for them to be well informed on online security and safety. So I think this is a very important thing that we will definitely be part of. So, yeah, you can.
Someone has a known issue that hackers are taking over your online space. The general issue is mostly affecting us here in northern Nigeria. The most victims, and because of the fact that they are not aware of how to keep their online space safe. Advocating about this issue will be useful for them. Advocating locally, I mean in our local dialect, will be more impactful in the northern region, as high number of northerners are not southern. I think they are not aware about how to protect their personal account. Things like that, right?
I think that was my contribution, and I have explanation already.
Okay. Okay.
So in the absence of anything, we should kind of take a 30 minutes break, then we can continue.
Palo.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. Said.
So we can proceed, sir, to take your session.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome to the African Media Initiative. And my name is Kabiru Aladi from the Department of Mass Communication, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. I am going to talk about encryption and journalism in post-conflict zones in Nigeria. So many issues have been raised concerning the safety of journalists, especially in post-conflict zones. And it is unfortunate that we are discussing this because after the civil war in 1967, Nigeria has witnessed a lot of conflicts ranging from ethnic to religious. But still, we are adjudged to be one of the most peaceful countries around Africa and the world in general. But unfortunately, from 2009, the northeastern part of the country witnessed what we term as the Boko Haram crisis, which up till today we are still battling with it, even though it has been reduced to barest minimum. But still we have a pocket of attacks here and there in some part of Borno State and Yobe. One thing about journalists is that they are always everywhere, whether during peacetime or during conflict. They have to be somewhere in order to report what is happening. And being in these places journalists working in peaceful areas are also faced with so many challenges, talk less of those who are working in the conflict zones. And the challenges are both from the government and then the groups who are involved in this conflict. For instance, journalists working in Borno State and Yobe and part of Adamawa are always faced with two issues. One, if they are reporting about Boko Haram will accuse them of supporting government. If whatever they do, the government also will see them as people that are crisis. That is, they are reporting, memorizing the activities of terrorists. So they find themselves in a very difficult situation. And that's why some experts suggest that in a situation like this, encryption is what will, using encryption tools in order to send messages is what journalists should be doing. But what is the impact of this using encryption for journalists working in post-conflict zones? This paper or this presentation is what we are going to look at. That is, we are going to look at the impact of encryption on the safety, security, and freedom of journalists in these challenging environments. The first issue is about security. In post-conflict zones, encryption is often viewed as a potential threat to national security. Government is always accusing journalists of using encryption messages or encrypted messages that have the potential of putting the area they live in a security threat. So they may argue that encrypted communication can be utilized also by criminals. So if journalists are using them, then why not the criminals? So it means that journalists working in these areas are confronted with the challenge of allowing themselves to send messages that are open and that can be threats to their lives. That is, on one hand, the terrorists will see what they are doing as a potential threat to their activities, and the government also will look at what they are doing as a threat to national security. So government may argue that encrypted communication can be utilized by criminal organizations and terrorists to plan and coordinate illegal activities. However, it is essential to strike a balance between national security concerns and the protection of journalists' rights. Journalists have the right to report information and at the same time to not disclose the sources of their information. So we need to find a balance between using encrypted communication in order to send messages and at the same time ensuring that the messages we are sending are not threats to national security. Encryption is a powerful tool that enables journalists in post-conflict zones to protect their privacy. Since the Edward Snowden case in the United States, government are now putting more pressure on journalists to ensure what they are doing and who they communicate with. And they are always finding way of reading encrypted messages, especially coming from journalists. So the attention is not only focused on criminal activities now. It also focuses on even individuals that are going about doing their legitimate jobs, like journalists. So they are seen as also a threat. But journalists use encrypted communication in order to protect their privacy. By encrypting their communications and data, journalists can safeguard sensitive information from unauthorized access and surveillance. This technology allows them to maintain the confidentiality of their sources and ensure the integrity of their work. One of the sacred, what do you call it? One of the things that any journalist is supposed to do is to protect the sources of his information. Journalists can go to jail in order to protect their sources. So encryption communication will enable journalists, first of all, to protect their privacy. Secondly, to ensure that the sources of their information are kept secret. And three, to ensure the messages they are sending is not revealed to unauthorized or have access to unauthorized person to have access to this information or survey. Therefore, to ensure that all sensitive information that they are going to send are safeguarded and then protected from unauthorized access. It also allows confidentiality of their sources. In post-conflict zones, freedom of speech is fragile and often under attack. Whenever you report something which has to do with failure maybe of the army against the terrorists, the army or the government will see you as somebody who is exposing their failures in the war. In fact, they don't want to be reported. And there are so many issues that happen during this conflict, which government sees it as a threat to national security. I think many of you can remember when two journalists were declared wanted by the previous government and accused them of, what do you call it, terrorism and supporting Boko Haram. I think if we can remember, we have the issue of Hamza Idris, who was a Daily Trust correspondent in Borno then, and who was accused by the government of supporting Boko Haram. Then the other person, I can't remember his name. What his name is? He was also working with Daily Trust, and he had to leave Nigeria because the government of Nigeria and Boko Haram were all looking for him. They said he was supporting Boko Haram, and at the same time, Boko Haram is accusing him of sharing their secrets with the government. Therefore, freedom of speech in these areas is under threat. So encryption empowers journalists to exercise their right to freedom of expression without fear of reprisals. So if you are working in these zones and then you want to send your information or encrypted messages, you don't have fear of reprisal either from the terrorist or government that is always surveilling what you are sending out. By securing their digital communications, journalists can freely report on sensitive issues, hold those in power accountable, and contribute to the democratic discourse. While you use encryption messages or communication to send out your sensitive information, the encrypted communication or encryption help you to secure their digital communication. Nobody can be able to surveil what they are doing. And this can also help them to keep those in power accountable. Because when there is a crisis like this, there is bound to be an instances of human rights abuse. And those who are doing that, either the terrorists or the government, may not want their atrocities to be exposed. Therefore, they try as much as possible to limit what the journalists can. The role of encryption. Encryption provides journalists with the ability to communicate anonymously protecting them from potential threats and reprisals, either by the terrorists or by the government in power. So they have this anonymity that enable them to report whatever they want to report without being or having fear of reprisal from either the terrorists or government. Then number two, there is when you are using encryption, you have the ability to secure your data transmission. Through encrypted channels, journalists can securely transmit their reports and investigations, minimizing the risks of interception or tampering. So whatever information they are sending, since it's encrypted, nobody can see it. And since nobody can see it, chances are that they can transmit their report and investigations, minimizing the risks of interception or tampering. Then number three, there is an issue of safe storage. Encryption allows journalists to store sensitive information securely, protecting it from unauthorized access and ensuring its integrity. There are a lot of information about hacking, especially in times of election. We are still talking about what happened in the American election during when Trump won the election. There are so many accusations that the Russian government interfere with the outcome of the election. And we also had similar experience here in Nigeria when a company in the United Kingdom was accused of interfering in our 2015 elections, sending bot messages on Twitter and Facebook, trying to shape public opinion toward a particular candidate. But if you are using encrypted storage, then chances are that you can store sensitive information without fear of having someone who is unauthorized to access it or ensuring its integrity. There are a lot of challenges with encryption. First of all, there is this issue of censorship. Restrictive government may attempt to censor encrypted investigative journalism. Most governments are always on the lookout for people that can expose their nefarious activities or corruption. So they are always in the lookout for journalists who are working on investigation, on investigative reporting, trying to expose their dirty activities. So in a situation like this, there are chances of censorship. Government are always trying to limit full access to information. Even recently, there are threats that social media has to be restricted, or they have to create new laws to protect social media. There are issues that are raised concerning the danger social media is posing to the security of Nigeria. So government is trying to come with laws that can censor the kind of information being shared on social media. Several human rights groups are against this. Then there are technical expertise. Journalists in post-conflict zone may require technical skills to effectively utilize encryption tools and protect their communication. So there is need for regular training. We need computer scientists to engage journalists in order to show them how to use this new technology that can enable them to do their job without interference from either the government or terrorists or criminal organizations. Therefore, there is need for journalists to have technical expertise in order to use encrypted communication. Then there is also government surveillance. Government may employ sophisticated surveillance or surveillance techniques to monitor and identify journalists using encryption, undermining their safety and freedom. This is very common, especially in countries like Iran, Russia, China, and Israel. government is always on the lookout. In fact, there are issues of, even in the United States of America, there are so many issues that has to do with government surveillance, that government is surveilling its citizens, which is against the law, because every individual has the right to his privacy. But in a situation like this, government employ, and they always cite the issue of national security in this kind of situations. They will say that because of national security, they have to be in surveillance of what people are doing. So they usually use sophisticated surveillance techniques to monitor and identify journalists using encryption, undermining their safety and freedom. Then what do we need to address these challenges? The first thing that we need in addressing these challenges is, number one, is education. Journalists need to be provided with comprehensive training on encryption technologies and best practices is crucial for their effective and safe usage. In fact, there is need for academic department to introduce courses that introduce to be journalists in the issue of encrypted communication. And at the same time, media organizations need to train their reporters and journalists on how to use this encrypted technology. So the first thing is education. We need to educate our journalists and reporters on how to use these encryption technologies. And then they have to also understand the best practice, how this is practiced elsewhere. Then support networks. There is also the need for establishing support networks. Things that what we are doing here is part of it. That is what the African Media and Information Technology Initiative is doing by organizing these kind of workshops. Is important because with this collaboration, journalists can be able to share knowledge and experiences and resources related to encryption. This will help them to know. For instance, journalists working in the Northeast can be able to share information with journalists working in the Southeast where IPOP operates, and then journalists working in the North Central, where we have the issue of unknown gunmen attacking villages and killing people. Journalists working in these areas also need to share their knowledge and experiences. And then we need to also have collaboration and support, then a network that can enable journalists from the Northwest also, especially in states like Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi, and Kaduna, to come and share their knowledge and experiences. And at the same time, the resources related to encryption on how they are navigating this environment. There are a lot of challenges that we are facing in Nigeria. Not only Boko Haram, there are so many places where a lot of things are happening. Then we need advocacy. Advocacy organizations play a vital role in raising awareness about the importance of encryption for journalists and advocating for their rights and safety. All these things is about the rights to freedom of expression, and then the right to safety, and then the right to privacy. Because these are ingredients that journalists need to perform their job professionally. That is, the first thing is to ensure that their rights are protected. That is, they should not be forced to disclose their sources. Two, they have the right to see things are reported the way they see it and analyze it based on the information they have. And then they have also the right to be safe after reporting this information. There are success stories. The Digital Shield Initiative is a non-profit organization that provides encryption training and support to journalists in post-conflict zones. Through their effort, journalists have been empowered to protect their privacy and communicate securely. So we have organizations like the Digital Shield Initiative, which is doing wonderfully well in ensuring that journalists are given enough training and support in post-conflict zone to perform their duty professionally. I think what AfriMIT is doing also is part of this initiative of success stories, because we need this, especially in conflict zones. People need, or journalists need to be protected. Their information sources need to be protected if really we want an informed society. In conclusion, encryption is a vital tool for journalists working in post-conflict zones in Nigeria. It enables them to communicate securely, protect their privacy, and exercise their right to freedom of expression. However, challenges such as censorship and government surveillance pose significant obstacles. Through education, support networks, and advocacy, journalists can navigate these challenges and continue their vital work of reporting on critical issues professionally. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope and pray that this type of training or workshops or advocacy will continue, not only in Borno State alone, but in other places around Nigeria, so that journalists can be supported to do their work professionally. Thank you once again for listening. I am Kabiru Aladi from the Department of Mass Communication, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria.
So thank you, sir, for a wonderful presentation. We hope to meet you again another time for another activity. For the participant, if there is any question with regards to his presentations, you are free to do so. Any question, any area that is not clear, or you have a question? Yeah, this one. Okay. You can speak.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Abaya Francis, and I'm the director of the space Maiduguri. I want to appreciate the speaker for a very powerful presentation. I think you have said all that needed to be said, and we want to see how we can put this in practice. And I think we'll be really good. My observation is just that you mentioned the issue of security, and unfortunately, security has become an issue that has just, it's not just to Northeast now, it has moved to all parts of Nigeria, both the south, the east, and what have you. And it appears to me as the government is actually doing well, but not enough. And this has also bounced back on the journalists being unable to put the information back to us as expected. What therefore would you want to say are some of the outage for this? I mean, as in, what can you say can be done to improve what government is doing? Because the government is spending so much money, and we are seeing that, especially for those of us in the Northeast, moving up and down. Sometimes your movement has been affected, and yet we don't see the impact so much. So what can you say about this? Thank you very much.
Okay. Can I come in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are a lot of things that have been said before on this reporting crisis or reporting in post-conflict or conflict zones. Most media organizations actually, they don't ensure their journalists to go to these places to report what is happening. Journalists are afraid to go to these places because there is no insurance about their safety or their lives when they report from these areas. I think apart from few media organizations like TVC, sometimes in 2017 sent their journalists to Borno in order to report what is really happening there. I think apart from that, only journalists that are living in Borno and Yobe, and to some extent Adamawa, are reporting what is happening in the Northeast. If you observe, there is like a total blackout, unless if there is a news release from the military. Journalists don't report what is happening in the Northeast. This media organization in Nigeria don't ensure to go to these areas and report what is happening. And I don't think there is any journalist that can risk his life and safety just to win a medal, to go to Borno, Konduga, or Baga, or Bama, or any area that is very, very insecure to report what is happening there. So I think partly the media organizations are to be blamed. And then secondly, journalists don't have special training to navigate these conflict zones. And I'm happy that an issue like this is raised now. So you can see, I know there are people that can volunteer, even if it is risking their lives, to go into these areas to see what is happening, and just pose as ordinary human beings that are living in these areas so that they can be able to report what is happening. And with the help of encrypted communication, they can be able to send back this information without the fear of being detected by the terrorist or the government. So I think we need to encourage our media organization to give insurance to their journalists to be going to these areas so that they report the positive things that are happening in these places. This is one aspect that the media organization can do. The second aspect is what AfriMeti is doing now. That is coming up with an initiative that can assist journalists to send encrypted communication to their media organization so that they navigate the dangers of being seen as supporting terrorists by the government, or the terrorists feeling that they are being exposed by a media person. So in my little knowledge, I think these are two things that can be done in order to maybe start seeing reports coming from these conflict zones. I don't know whether I have addressed your observation.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is a good solution that needs to be placed. I have a general appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, sir. For
Hello?
So there's no any question from any other participant? Okay, you can speak. You can speak.
Okay. Mr. Kabiru, one issue that I want to know about this encryption. I can see you are very much aware about it, and although I don't know much about journalism, but from what I heard from you, I've seen a lot of impact that encryption is doing in journalism. So what I want to know is, I've seen a lot of, like you said, about the investigative journalism. I mean, I watch a lot of investigative journalism about Nigeria. In fact, last week I was watching some investigative journalism from the National Geographic. Some lady called, I think, Vasquez, her name. She's an American journalist, and she came here to Maiduguri, actually. She went to where there is this Boko Haram repentance, Boko Haram. She went there, she investigated, she found a lot of information about it, and she even went to the Niger Delta, where there is a lot of bunkers, went into the bush, met some of the people doing the bunkering, and it's very, very informative. I mean, and if you could remember,
during the Boko Haram crisis, I think in the heart of the Boko Haram crisis, 2018, there was a British American journalist that came here. He went to Burma, met some of the insurgents, interviewed them, came back. I mean, we watch a lot of. So my point here is our journalists not informed. I'm not putting, and I did not put in proper encryption. Is encryption the reason that they are being discouraged to do investigative journalism? If so, I mean, how can you address this so that we need to be seeing a lot of investigative journalism from our people, because this is their place. They know this place much than the international journalism.
Yeah. I think the simple answer I can give you to this is what happened to Daily Trust and BBC recently, when one of their or two of their journalists went into the bush to interview bandits. And they did a very good report concerning the banditry in Zamfara State, Katsina, and Sokoto. Unfortunately, the government was not happy because they feel this is glamorization of the terrorists. So these are some of the challenges. Even if you want to do stories like this, you may likely face. BBC was not sanctioned because BBC is an international media, and it's very difficult for the government of Nigeria to sanction them. But the sanctioned Daily Trust, in fact, I mean Daily Trust TV, and they said that they have violated NBC Court. So these are some of the things that if you are in a country like ours in Africa, you have to contend with. Sometimes we have energetic journalists who wants to go and do an investigative report like this, but they are handicapped by laws. That's the censorship I was talking about when I was presenting my paper. There are a lot of things that you cannot report. For instance, if you go and report about bandits, it will be misinterpreted as supporting banditry. Or you go and report Boko Haram, for instance, if you go and interview ISWAP members, and then you report it in your newspaper or radio or television. Government might see it as glamorizing the activities of ISWAP. So these are some of the challenges. It's not that our journalists are not good enough to do this. In fact, given the opportunity, our journalists can do better than what these people are coming from the West to do here. But we are restricted by some laws and censorship by the government. And I told you, the person that was coming from the United States or United Kingdom to do an investigation here in Nigeria, his life is insured. If something happened to him, his family is going to get compensation. But you hardly hear journalists being compensated for risking their lives here in Nigeria. So these are some of the challenges I think from the journalist perspective. We need this insurance that if you go and report issues and something happened to you, there are people that can protect you. So these are some of the things or challenges that journalists might be facing, which can stop them doing this kind of investigative reporting that you're talking about. I don't know whether I've addressed your observation.
Yes, sir. You have dwelled on something very tricky, which that's what actually happens when you are working on reporting on terrorism, interviewing them. There are a lot of wrong perception to it, and like the main purpose of this activity is discussing about encryption. Mostly the normal man, the normal citizens doesn't even know what is encryption, and they can't even participate mostly on this movement, because it's something that purposely has revolved around laws, because you have to have laws that protect citizens' data, and you have to be knowledgeable and technical before you can even understand what encryption is, and advocating for it requires training or retraining. So what
Yes.
do you think we can do better in conducting this kind of activities in the future, like in the aspect of conducting it? How can we, because what we have one challenge involving government in the discussion is kind of hard. They don't even take it serious to even be at the event. If you send in invite, or they see what you are going to discuss, they already tagged you to a specific category. So what do you think we can do better?
I think what can be done, first of all, like I said, we need to train journalists on this encryption technology first. And I even suggested in my paper that computer science need to be part of the things journalists are taught in school. And secondly, on the aspect of government, we shouldn't get tired. Every time there is a program like this, we need to send them an invitation. This is to tell you that you are always in.
No, it's maybe from his side.
The journalism practice, but you are also helping the government in order to understand what the journalists are doing, is helping.
We cannot just say government. How is it government? Like our mind is government out. But when you program like this, you can define the activity of the political